In the vastness of the African savanna, there is a life more isolated than any other, not because it chooses to be alone, but because it has no other option. This is the loneliest life in the savanna, the life of a lion who walks without a pride. Once this lion was surrounded by movement, by voices, by purpose. There were lionesses resting nearby, cubs playing at a safe distance, a territory that responded to his presence. Now there is only space. He moves through tall grass slowly, carefully, as if each step requires permission from the land itself. There is no one beside him, no one following. The savanna stretches endlessly ahead, wide and silent. For a lion, solitude is not natural. Lions are built for unity, for shared hunts, for shared defense. But when dominance ends, companionship often leaves with it. This lion did not lose his pride in a single moment. There was no dramatic separation. It happened quietly. First, the lionesses drifted away. They followed strength, as they always must. Then the younger lions stopped acknowledging him. They no longer waited for his movements. They no longer looked to him for direction. And one day, he realized something painful. He was alone. Hunger arrives differently when you are alone. There is no coordinated hunt, no shared effort, no second chance. Every attempt costs energy he cannot afford to waste. He watches prey from a distance, calculating, not chasing. The instinct is still there. The body is not. Sometimes he tries. He rises, gathers himself, and moves forward. The chase begins and ends almost as quickly. Prey scatters. Dust lifts into the air. He stops, breathing heavy, watching the opportunity disappear. There is no anger in his eyes, only familiarity. This is not the first failure. It will not be the last. As the day grows hotter, he searches for shade. Shade is valuable now. He lowers himself beneath sparse cover, his body sinking slowly into the earth. The ground feels firm, unchanging. The savanna does not adjust itself for the lonely. Around him, life continues. Birds land nearby, then lift away. Insects move freely through the grass. He does not react. Once, everything reacted to him. Now, he reacts to nothing. Loneliness is not loud in the wild. It does not announce itself. It settles in quietly. In the long hours with no sound but wind, in the nights with no warmth beside him, in the absence of familiar shapes when he opens his eyes. At night, the savanna becomes dangerous in a different way. Hyenas laugh in the distance. They do not approach yet. They wait. They always wait. Once they would have scattered at the slightest movement from him. Once his presence alone was enough. Now they test the air, testing him. He lifts his head slightly. They pause. Memory still has power, but memory fades. Sleep comes in fragments. Pain wakes him. Cold settles into joints that once carried him effortlessly across the land. When morning arrives, it does not bring renewal. It brings another day to endure. He rises slowly, stretching muscles that resist movement. The sun paints his mane in soft light, revealing wear that no battle ever could. Time has marked him in ways claws never did. He walks again, not toward anything specific, just forward, because stopping completely feels like surrender. This is the loneliest life in the savannah. Not dramatic, not heroic, just quiet, just enduring. And as he disappears into the tall grass, one truth remains unspoken but undeniable. Being alone is not the hardest part. Being forgotten is. Days pass, but for him, time no longer feels like movement. It feels like waiting. The sun rises and falls, marking hours he does not count anymore. Morning brings light, but not purpose. Night brings darkness, but not rest. He moves only when he must. Hunger decides his schedule now, not instinct or dominance. And hunger has become patient. He watches the savannah from a distance that keeps him safe but separate. Other animals exist around him, yet none belong to him. Prey animals notice him, but they no longer react with urgency. They look, they assess, then they move on. That moment lingers. Once a single glance from him was enough to send bodies scattering. Now hesitation replaces fear. It is not disrespect, it is recognition. Recognition that he is no longer the center of anything. He tries to hunt again, not because he believes it will work, but because trying reminds him that he is still alive. He lowers his body, moving through grass that once hid him easily. The stalk takes time, too much time. His breathing gives him away before his body can close the distance. The herd breaks apart, dust rises, hooves disappear. He stops again, standing alone, watching. Failure no longer surprises him. It confirms what he already knows. Later, as heat settles across the land, he searches for shade. Shade is not comfort, it is necessity. He lies down carefully, easing his weight onto the ground. The earth accepts him without resistance. Around him, the savannah breathes. Wind moves the grass. Birds land close, then lift away again. No one guards his rest. No one stands watch. This is the cost of solitude. At a distance, hyenas appear, not charging, not threatening, observing. They keep their space, respecting something that still lingers in him. Not strength, memory. Once he was danger itself. Now he is a calculation. They circle wider than before, testing how close they can exist without consequence. He lifts his head slowly. They pause. Still, something remains. But each day, that pause grows shorter. Night comes. Loneliness deepens after dark. Cold settles into his body, finding places already weakened by time. Sleep comes briefly, then leaves. Dreams pull him backward. He runs in them. He roars without effort. He stands surrounded by movement and meaning. Then he wakes. Reality returns quietly, without cruelty. Morning light reveals the same truth. He is still alone. He rises again, slower than before, and begins to walk. There is no destination, just motion. Stopping feels too close to disappearing. As he moves, he passes through land that once belonged to him, places where battles were fought, where roars once echoed. The land remembers, even if the animals do not. He pauses there longer than necessary, as if listening for something that will not return. Nothing answers. Eventually, he continues. The savannah does not resist him. It does not guide him. It simply exists. And so does he. Loneliness in the wild is not dramatic. It does not beg for attention. It settles in the quiet moments, when no one follows, when no one waits, when no one notices if you stop moving. As the sun lowers once more,
he finds a place to rest, the same routine, the same silence. Another day endured, another day unseen. And slowly, a realization takes shape. Being alone does not mean being abandoned by the world. It means the world has learned to live without you.
There comes a time when loneliness stops feeling sharp. It softens, not because it hurts less, but because it has become familiar. For him, that time has arrived. He no longer scans the horizon expecting anything to return. No pride, no challenge, no recognition. Expectation has faded. What remains is awareness. He moves less now, choosing moments carefully, conserving energy not for ambition, but for comfort. The savannah no longer feels like something to conquer. It feels like something to coexist with. He rests often. When he lies down, it is with intention, not defeat. The ground supports his weight, steady and unchanged. There's a strange peace in that. Around him, life continues in quiet patterns. Animals pass through his presence without urgency. They acknowledge him, then move on. Once, this would have felt like loss. Now, it feels honest. He no longer needs fear to prove he exists. The sun warms his back as it climbs, and for a while he closes his eyes, not to sleep, just to be still. Stillness has become his strength. Memories drift through him gently now, without demand. He remembers cubs pressing close for warmth, lionesses resting nearby, their breathing familiar and steady, nights filled with sound and purpose. These memories no longer pull at him. They sit quietly, like old companions. He has lived long enough to let them be. As evening approaches, the light softens, painting the savannah in gold. Shadows stretch longer. The air cools. He stands one last time and walks a short distance, stopping where the land opens wide before him. There is no reason for this place. He simply chooses it. From here, he can see far. Grass moving, birds settling, the slow rhythm of a world that does not need him and never truly did. This realization no longer feels heavy. It feels complete. He lowers himself again, carefully, deliberately. His breathing is slow, even. There is no urgency left in him, no need to prove strength, no need to claim space. The savannah accepts him exactly as he is. Night arrives without ceremony. Stars emerge overhead, distant and constant. They have watched many lives begin and end. They will watch more. He lies beneath them, quiet and aware. Loneliness has changed shape. It is no longer absence. It is space. Space to rest. Space to exist without expectation. This is the final lesson of the wild. That meaning does not always come from dominance, or from being followed, or from being remembered loudly. Sometimes meaning comes from lasting long enough to understand when to stop reaching outward. He does not disappear. He remains, still breathing, still present. A single life settled into the vastness around it. The savannah does not mark this moment. There is no signal, no ending sound, only continuity. And in that quiet continuation, his story finds its final shape. Not as a king, not as a symbol, but as a life fully lived.